I'm a computer scientist by trade and by education, and I think we crossed or we had a step function improvement. And with AI, I feel that we're kind of in a moment where AIs are beating humans in coding. So I, for example, do not write code anymore. I don't think anything can prepare for you for the eventual singularity. It's gonna be if and when it happens, it's gonna be weird. Like, regardless of what you have done, it's gonna be super weird to have intelligent things, and definitely their Bitcoin will play a role because of the KYC and all of the constraints of the current financial system.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. We are very happy today to have another interview guest in our interview series, Juho Muhonen. And this is going to be a very interesting topic related to Bitcoin and AI and how does it interfere. So stay tuned and stay until the end to learn more about AI and Bitcoin and why do we think that Bitcoin is sound money and how Bitcoin is actually also a good tool for AI. So warm welcome to you, Juho. I'm glad to have you here in the interview. Opening question to you. How actually did you get to Bitcoin? And what was actually your motivation? If you can tell us a little bit more about you as an entrepreneur, a Finnish Bitcoin entrepreneur.
Yeah, good to be here. I think my background in Bitcoin is pretty similar to many Bitcoiners. Like many, I heard about Bitcoin somewhere around 2011, I guess. I downloaded the software to my laptop. It was after GPU mining was already a thing, so you couldn't really mine Bitcoin with a CPU anymore. So the only thing that the software did to my laptop was heat it up a lot, and I couldn't mine anything. Didn't think about it at all after 2011 until again bumping into it more seriously in 2020. I had a lot of free time in my hands at the moment. I had sold my company a few years later, and I had a lot of free time to read and to investigate things, to learn about things that actually interested me. Bitcoin was one of those things, or became one of those things in 2020 when I think it was actually Michael Saylor's purchase or MicroStrategy's purchase of Bitcoin. I think he bought something around a few hundred millions worth of Bitcoin, and at that moment I thought that maybe I had missed something about the technology, because during the years between 2011 and 2020 I thought that there's really no demand for the thing. And I, like many of others, thought that maybe it could be interesting as a payment mechanism, novel money. But since there was no real adoption, I kind of dismissed it. But in 2020 I started reading about it more seriously and started reading about the flaws of the current system and got really into Bitcoin from the freedom angle, also as a speculation in the beginning. But as I read about it, it became more obvious that the current financial system has a lot of flaws. It has a hierarchy, and it has people who make decisions, and money is a thing that should be public domain. So nobody controls it, and it should be just something that people use instead of something that is used by powerful people to remain in power and to control other people.
So you are also in the second decade of Bitcoin story as I myself as well, and I'm curious to know because since 1 year I have been out of the closet myself, and I have been talking to people about Bitcoin a lot. What about your story? Did you have real life friends already in the early years, or were you also very private as me myself?
I was pretty private in the beginning. I just spent time reading about all of the things that you can find about Bitcoin, watching YouTube, listening to podcasts, but I didn't look for live communities. I think I visited one meetup during my first year in getting interested in about the technology, but I didn't. I really didn't. I wasn't looking for people in real life at the time.
Another question which pops up into my mind is the entrepreneurship. So you built a business upon Bitcoin. Can you tell a little bit more about this?
Yeah, you mean the business that I sold? That
Yeah,
wasn't
I mean you sold the business, but I also we interviewed the BTC Butcher, for example.
right.
And this was also some kind of first touch point regarding your person, and yeah, would be curious to learn more about your entrepreneur history a little bit maybe, but also the current one.
Yeah, BTC Butcher is my co-founder in Bitcoin BeefBits. Uh, that's more of a. I will have to admit that that is more of a side project for him and for me as well. It's not large enough to support people as a business. It's the idea is that we dry meat with Bitcoin miner produced heat, and the end product is a kind of a beef crisp. And the idea for that came, I think that the idea for that business in particular has been around, like many Bitcoiners that I have talked to during the years, kind of have had similar ideas about drying meat and drying stuff with the Bitcoin heat, but nobody's really done that on a large scale yet. So what we ended up doing with BTC Butcher Christos is that when BTC Hell, which is the first ever Nordic Bitcoin conference that was organized the first time last year in August, and I'm one of the co-founders of BTC Hell and co-organizers of it. And I was looking for somebody to actually produce content for the conference. So originally I had discussions with other Bitcoiners about drying meat, and I was looking for somebody to actually implement something for the conference, for us to have on display in the conference, for Bitcoiners to see that you can actually do these things. And I ended up finding Christos, who was open-minded to the idea. He wasn't a Bitcoiner at the time, or had maybe heard about Bitcoin a little bit, but hadn't, for example, seen a Bitcoin miner ever. But he really took the idea and just went with me to implement that. So the origin story is that 2 months before the conference, during the summer 2025, I introduced Christos to Bitcoin mining. I just walked into his shop with the idea that we would want somebody to dry meat at the conference venue, and brought in a miner and showed him how it worked, and he just took the idea and ended up building a prototype for the conference, so that we had some ready-made product for people to buy at the conference. We sold out at the conference, and since it was a success during the conference, we decided to found a company and actually build an online shop for the BeefBits. So it is a business that's ongoing, but in all honesty, it's still a side project for BTC Butcher, he has his own meat shop in Helsinki, and that's his main business, and it's a side project for everybody involved at the moment.
It's a really funny story and catchy one. I think there are many small projects around the world, around doing lightning payments, micropayment to the business and so on. Can you mention any interesting project you have heard about lately?
Yeah, well, the thing is that, like, with Bitcoin, it's since it's money, and the real core functions of money are kind of limited. It's a little bit hard to come up with novel ideas on how to do a Bitcoin business. So the core businesses revolve around spending money, saving money. Obviously, the main thing that currently the Bitcoin ecosystem, or Bitcoin in general, mostly profits from is people just getting educated. So BTC Hell is a great example of that kind of a project, where we are bringing the education of what money actually is, and how Bitcoin works, and what the problems of the current system are, to the masses. But I mean, pure Bitcoin businesses are kind of hard to come by, because money is such a simple tool in its core. You just need to be able to save it and spend it, basically. And those are the two functions for it.
Yeah, you mentioned already, several times now in our talk, BTC Hell. So there is a lot of conferences around. At the moment, there is, the Bitcoin Las Vegas conference. There will be Prague soon. What makes BTC Hell special, and what is actually your role?
My role with the conference is mostly technical. So I would say that with BTC Hell, I have a supporting role. The idea originated from Luke and Remu, who I think during I want to say BTC Prague, but one of the conferences during 2025, wasn't maybe Prague, it was something else. But during one of the conferences in 2025, they met, and just during the late hours or the kind of the after conference meetups, they had the idea that there has never been a conference in the Nordics. So that was where the idea originated. And I mean, in terms of what makes it special, it's the location. So it's really easy to access for people coming from the Nordics, Sweden, Norway, Finland, and also the Baltics. In terms of the content, we had a lot of really good speakers last year, and we will have a lot of good speakers this year as well. But with Bitcoin conferences, I mean, the themes are kind of revolving around the same ideas about sovereignty, freedom, investment. One of the special themes that we are going to have this year is mining, because Nordics has a really strong mining culture, or the conditions in the Nordics where there is a lot of potential for capturing the waste heat from the miners is actually a thing. You have municipalities, for example, in Finland, where you can capture the heat and push that heat into the district heating system, and people are actually doing that. So capturing the heat is really useful here in the Nordics, where it's cold in the winter and there's need for the heat all year round. We also have cheap electricity and a lot of intermittent electricity production due to the windmills that have been produced or set up during the last, I don't know, few years. So mining is kind of one of the themes that's strongly present in this year's conference, and was strongly present in last year's conference as well. So if you want to kind of find one angle that separates the content, then I would bring up the mining. And we actually do have a separate one-day conference before BTC held the main conference. It's called the European Mining Summit. And if you're interested in mining, either as a Bitcoin miner or as somebody who has who is part of the energy infrastructure here in the Nordics, then that is a great place to get to know other miners and other energy people here in the area.
This is very interesting. What do you think? How far are you with locking the keynote speakers and the other guests talking in BTC Hell? And who are your main guests?
I'm not actually in charge of the speaker schedule or locking in the speakers. The schedule will be set later this year. So with conferences, it's you start getting people to promise to come, and you can see a bunch of the people who have already promised to come to the conference from the btchell.com website. But that is still a process that's ongoing, and we will obviously try and get quality, high-level people to come and speak at the conference. My dream would be that we would get Jack to come. We've been trying to get Jack to come, but he's obviously a busy guy.
So maybe
If he would, Maybe. I
So
don't know,
no other
but
secrets to share.
no. Yeah, but that's Luke's responsibility actually to set up the schedule and get speakers to come. My role is supporting the technology, which is mainly the ticketing system, the website, the payment rails for Bitcoin and stuff like that. That's uh, more behind the scenes stuff.
Nice. Let's talk about AI a bit. I've read an article about a study from Bitcoin Policy Institute where AI, or I think it was 36 different LLMs, so large language models, were asked about Bitcoin as money. So, what kind of money autonomous agents would use? And I mean, one core finding would be that nearly 50% said that they would use Bitcoin. And on rank two, I think it was stable coins, and fiat was not playing any role. So this was pretty interesting because I think the LLMs were not trained to be pro Bitcoin or contra Bitcoin. So they had a pretty, I would say, neutral role about it. What are your thoughts about AI and also with regards to Bitcoin?
Well, with AI, we're living in a moment where things are moving really fast. Um, I'm a I'm a computer scientist by trade and by education, and I think we crossed or we had a step function improvement about 4 months ago or maybe half a year ago, where before that moment I, for example, personally would not have used AI for coding. I mean, I continuously tried using it over the years for actually producing code. Uh, After GPT-3 came around, somewhere 2021, I guess, and before November 2025, I wouldn't have said you can use AR for any serious production level coding. But since about a half a year ago, with the tooling that we currently have, so for example, Claude Code or Codex, which is the client tooling for OpenAI's LLMs, you can actually just be an architect and outsource coding to LLMs and the coding clients. And things are moving really fast. And I would personally say that we're living kind of the alpha go moment of coding, where you still need a human in the loop. So AlphaGo was the kind of the bot that beat humans in Go, which kind of was one of the big benchmarks for AI being able to uh, beat a human in a game where humans were thought to have some sort of an edge due to intuition and kind of the high level thinking capabilities of humans. So AlphaGo beat human, and then AlphaZero made it so that the AIs could train just by playing with themselves. So they would play against each other and learn how to play Go on a superhuman level. And with AI, I feel that we're kind of in a moment where AIs are beating humans in coding. So I, for example, do not write code anymore. I architect and I am a product owner, and I ask the AI to do the coding for me, and I sometimes review the code, but I do not write the code anymore. The AI agent is far superior to me in actually producing the code, the low-level code, and that's the AlphaGo moment. And now we're waiting for the AlphaZero moment for coding, where actually you don't need the human in the loop anymore. You will have just an AI agent doing also the architecting and the planning and reviewing of the coding agent, and you have a closed loop where the AI agents are just continuously improving themselves, which is not the case right now, but will be the case in, let's say, within a year or two. And that's a really, really interesting moment, because once that happens, you will have something that is self-improving. So it is building itself and improving itself without human supervision. And that's a moment that the people in the business call a singularity. And for the first time in my life, I actually do now believe that we will have something that's similar to that in the near future. And once that's happening, then just it's really hard to imagine how fast it will go. With AlphaZero, in the context of Go, it just learned to be a superhuman Go player within weeks. Once it had the capability to self-improve just by playing against itself. And it's hard to imagine what a world will look like when the AIs will start improving themselves. So the reflexive loop closes. So in terms of where we are with the AI, I think we are nearing singularity. Meanwhile, the humans are still in the loop. What was the second question?
Regarding
Was there?
Bitcoin, what kind of role is
Right.
for Bitcoin? I mean, yeah. Also,
Yeah.
maybe when it comes to let's say proof of work structure. I mean, with Bitcoin, you have for sure this kind of concept that you don't need to trust somebody, right? You have no counterparty involved, which is you don't need a bank account, right? Which would maybe also for AI agent
Yeah.
an important point. What is your view on that?
Yeah. So I've been playing with the coding agents a lot, and one of the kind of the a dream would be that you could actually just direct an AI agent or a team of agents to build a business by themselves without human supervision. Maybe the human has some sort of an idea, but then you would just unleash the agents to build the idea. And definitely there Bitcoin will play a role because of the KYC and all of the constraints of the current financial system. It's really hard for an AI agent to be independent within the current system. You will need, or the agent will need a human for the identity to get an account with a bank to be able to participate in the traditional economy. But with the agents that I'm running or testing, the idea of them building a business, they immediately get the restrictions with the current financial system, and they are really open to the idea of just running a Lightning node by themselves or using eCash tokens for the payments for the services that they are building and providing. So, for example, one of the tests that I'm currently running is can a team of 2 agents, one Claude agent and one OpenAI agent, together build a data business where they would publish Bitcoin related data online and just set up the payment rails by themselves, holding the keys to the wallet, and see if anybody is willing to purchase any data from them. But the agents definitely, like you said, they will prefer a system where you don't need you don't have to do the KYC, and also they get the idea behind the hard money, so that they can save in the hard currency, which is Bitcoin, and have KYC payment rails, which will be either Lightning or eCash tokens on top of that.
Bitcoin mining and AI compute are battling for the energy and for the rack spaces in the data centers. How do you see, Juho, the market going on from today towards the next years with this? How is Bitcoin mining and AI compute coming along together?
There are different types of compute. So Bitcoin mining, you can just spin it up and turn it off whenever. So it doesn't have a state where it would require a long running processes, which, for example, the training of AI systems require, or it doesn't have to have high availability, which the inference part, so the use of the AI systems require. So they have different profiles for the energy needs, or for different profiles for the consumption of energy. So Bitcoin mining is far more it can use available electricity more what's it called it's
flexible,
more
right?
yeah, it's more flexible in terms of when and how it can use the energy, whereas AI systems or AI data centers will have to comply to the customer needs, or will have to be running on a continuous basis when they are doing the training loop. But I'm not a data center expert or anything like that. My understanding is just that Bitcoin mining is more flexible, and also you can do it on a smaller scale. So you can have let's say a few kilowatt production system, like a windmill or a small water hydro power plant, and you can co-locate Bitcoin miners next to it. But you need a far bigger system for the AI centers. It's harder to co-locate smaller systems, and you just fundamentally have different types of consumers in AI and Bitcoin mining.
Yeah, before we wrap up, Juho, one question. I mean, with regard to the AI wave and Bitcoin wave, which is coming, how can the viewers be prepared for that? I mean, do you have maybe 3 tips or 1 to 3 tips how people can become prepared for that?
I don't think anything can prepare for you for the eventual singularity. It's gonna be I mean, if and when it happens, it's gonna be weird. Like, regardless of what you have done, it's gonna be super weird to have intelligent things. You will probably be able to call them beings, but it will be super weird because in the case of humans, it's always been the case that you need to train a human for, I don't know, 20 years before it becomes intelligent. So from birth until adulthood, you're kind of training the human. But with AIs, it's actually going to be that once one AI reaches a superhuman or even is on par with human level intelligence, you can just replicate, you can copy that. And that's something that has never existed. You have never had intelligence that you can just copy and multiply, and the constraint is that you will need to have enough energy to run them. But the future will be super weird once that happens. But in the meanwhile, anybody can just pick a topic that they are interested in. So if somebody wants to understand the current state of AI better, I think the best way is to just try and use the AI systems for things that you are genuinely interested in. And it's rarely the case that work is something that you are genuinely interested in. If it is, good for you, but if it isn't, just pick something that you're actually genuinely interested in, and then try to use AI to build something within that space. And to use or try to use AI, it's pretty easy. You just download a software from, for example, Claude or OpenAI to your computer, and then you just start discussing with the AI about your ideas and your interests, and you can treat it as a co-worker of a kind. It has limitations currently with the memory. For example, it will have amnesia from time to time, so it has a really limited working memory. You feel the effects of the working memory getting full and then getting cleaned, so it will forget things pretty easily. And that's just one of the technical limitations that the systems already have. But already with the limitations, they are so intelligent in what they can do for you that it's amazing how fast they can prototype things. So my concrete advice to people who are interested is to pick a subject that you're genuinely interested in, and then treat an AI like it would be a co-worker or a co-hobbyist or whatever, like another intelligent being, and just start interacting with it around that interest, and see where you'll end up with the AI. You might get surprised because, like I said, I'm no longer coding. It's far superior to me in terms of coding, and that will happen in other areas of work, and especially like digital work as well. But like, there's no magic button that would make you understand or get amazed with AI if you're not willing to just try it out. So the first step is to try it out.
Thank you, Juho, for your insights and talking with us. It was very nice having you.
And also for everybody who said, okay, this was a really interesting topic, please leave us a like and subscribe Bitcoin Bootcamp. We are very happy to further invite people like Juho to tell us more details and give us more insights regarding now AI, but also other Bitcoin related topics. So please subscribe Bitcoin. It costs you nothing and helps us to be more visible in the space. Thank you very much, Juho, for your time, for your insights, and let's stay in touch, and hopefully we meet in person at one or the other conference, hopefully.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.